Okay, guys, this is our video number 10 on financial planning to buy a car, right? So we're now going to the last few parts of this assignment. So previously, we've done the strength and limitation in the evaluation part of the assignment. On this part, I would like to do okay, the second half of evaluation of the model, which is adjusting the original model. That means so after strengths and limitations, so you know what's the advantage and disadvantage of your current model. So you try to do some adjustment, or you try to suggest some possible alternative models for your planning, right? And there might be other considerations that we haven't mentioned in this report, right? So that's what we're going to do, right? Okay, so remember in the last video we've done the strengths and limitation. Okay, so now we're going to do alternative adjusting the original model. So first, let's think about alternative loan amounts. All right, and that could be related to your limitations, right? So because when you say something alternative, that means you think that's something which is might not work, okay, in your current model, and that has been addressed in your limitations. All right, so let's have a quick look of some of the limitations. Okay, the hourly rate might not be increased in second or third year. So regular deposits might not be 300 all the times. Okay, might less than 300, so that's you can't enjoy that rate. Inflation rate might not follow the same pattern in the last 5 years. Okay, interest rate loan would be subject to the speed of economic recovery. Therefore, higher than expected loan repayment would be possible. Okay, so you don't need to address all those limitations in your alternative model. Okay, so let's try to. I'm going to focus on the number 3 and number 4. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, I try to do something alternative in an alternative way for our limitations 3 and 4. Okay, so how about the inflation rate? Okay, so we understand inflation rate might not follow the same pattern as in the last 5 years because of unprecedented COVID lockdowns. Okay, how could we address that? All right, so let's go to this part, and we might just want to get a cancel. Yeah. Okay, you might say something like, yeah, okay. How about since inflation rate might not follow the pattern in the last 5 years due to COVID restrictions. Okay, you might use lockdowns, all right, but restrictions more general because in Mackay we haven't experienced any lockdowns. All right, and you might say it would be sensible to use the average quarterly inflation rate. Okay, rather than the annual rate of past 5 years. Right, so that's one alternative way. So, and you might say something about that, what would be the effect on your loan amounts, okay? So you could report, since the latest quarterly inflation rate is higher than usual. Okay, so you might actually get the figure. So by going into the website, but here I might just talk very generally, right? Okay, the inflated price of the car could be higher than we expected in the model. All right, so that means you might need the price will be higher. Okay. Therefore, a greater loan might be needed. Okay, so that's first alternative loan amount consideration. All right, and would there be another consideration you need to make? All right, so the second one was like, I might ask you to go back to see in our modeling part. So remember that the repayments around $555. I mean this part, right? I mean this figure. Okay, this is monthly repayment. The monthly repayment, which is 555. Okay, so this amount could be could be too much for you as young high school graduates. So you might consider that, all right? And you might want to reduce it a little bit. So how could we reduce it? In the current model, we do our repayment in 36 months. So you remember that? Now, but we know that the loan deal was quite flexible. You could repay it in 7 years, up to 7 years, right? So you might say in the current model, the monthly loan repayment was that could be too high for me after 3 years. Okay, therefore it could be considered. Okay, so the loan be repaid in a longer time, such as 5 years, rather than 2 years, which is currently in our model. Okay, so that's all right. So these are two alternative loan amounts you need to consider. But okay, so you repay a longer time, of course, the total loan repayment would be greater as a result. Okay, it's a bit redundant. It could be the total loan repayment would be higher than the better amounts in the model. Right, okay, good. So that's pretty much what we need to do. All right, are there any considerations? When it comes to other consideration, it must be something we haven't considered before, right? Okay, so you might consider, and you need to give reason why do you have such considerations, which you haven't mentioned before, right? So, for example, you might consider that, okay, so how about like you might go to another city to study, all right? And then there might be some, so for example, some of you might want to go to the unit. If you go to university and we don't have many university in the town for Mackay, then you have to be away from home. So there are extra courses and you need to consider that extra courses, right, in your financial planning, which we haven't mentioned anything in the current report, right? Yeah. So you might say after 3 years, I might move away to another city to further my study. So, okay. Therefore, considerations consideration would be necessary. Okay, I need to revert that, sorry. Therefore, there extra course of living, such as accommodation course. Right, so that's extra cost of living. Right now you live with your family, so and then you move out, you have to pay for your own academic accommodation. Okay, so so that's why you need to consider that. And what would be the consideration after you need to have such a higher living cost? Okay, so therefore. Monthly repayment for the loan needs to be cut. Okay, okay, to save money for extra living costs. Right. Okay, so that's one thing you might need to consider. Okay, need to be cut, and so that means you might have a long period, or you might try to buy cheaper car. Right? Okay, right. All this thing. And how about the second other consideration? All right, so you might consider that is that possible to buy a second-hand car, okay, which would be much cheaper, okay? So I'm not going to write everything for you, okay? Second-hand car. Okay, so you need to finish that by yourself, all right? Okay, so that's pretty much about the other consideration. So all those things were done by myself according to the data I have, right? So you should have very different ideas in those alternative loan amount and other considerations, right? So don't try to copy everything from me. You try to have your own ideas. That's very important. But I just show you the direction, okay? All right, okay. So our video will be the last one. So I'm going to do the conclusion part. All right. So see you next time. Bye.